Well, hello everyone, Edgerunner Gaming HD, and welcome yet again to another Thoughts and Grades video here on the channel. This one on Telltale Games Back to the Future, the video game, the 30th Anniversary Edition. This is a remastered version that came out for the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, I believe back in 2015, after the original launch of the game that came out, I believe, 13 years ago, back in 2010, if I remember correctly. I know it came out on PS3 and 360, so it came out quite some time ago. I think it was 13 years ago. Now, obviously, as you can tell from me playing the game here on my channel, I am a humongous fan of the Back to the Future franchise. I've seen all three movies, my personal favorite being Back to the Future Part 3. I know a lot of people are probably going to look at me a little odd when I say that, but I love the Old West. I freaking love the Old West, and having the Old West in Back to the Future Part 3, I thought was a pretty damn good way of ending the trilogy. Plus, I really love the ending of Back to the Future Part 3. And no, I don't think there should ever be a Back to the Future Part 4 in terms of an actual film. I think Back to the Future Part 3 was the perfect ending. No more. Please, Hollywood, for the love of God, I am begging you, I am pleading with you, please never, ever, ever reboot the Back to the Future franchise. Don't ever make a fourth film. Don't ever do a remake. Don't ever reboot it. Just leave it alone. Just let it rest in peace. If you want to continue making merchandise off of it, if you want to continue making DLC for it and so many games here and there, if you want to continue making money off the IP, that's fine and dandy. Just the only thing I ask is please, no more films. No more. Broadway plays, fine. Films, no. I'm good. I don't want to see a reboot. I don't want to see a remake. Hard pass. Now, with all of that being said, Telltale Games Back to the Future, the video game, might just be the closest that we're ever going to get to somewhat of a Back to the Future Part 4 like experience. I'm not saying this game should be made into a live action movie. I don't want that. I'm not asking for that. I don't want to see that. But if this was their attempt at making, in their universe, a fourth film, this was done pretty darn well. It ain't perfect, and I'll get to that in a little bit, but I thought they did a pretty darn good job with their telling of what a fourth movie in the franchise would be like if it ever did happen. Let me start off with the graphics for my grading system. Start off from the bottom and then work my way up. So I'm going to start off with the graphics here. Really not much to say. I mean, the game's not ugly, in my opinion. It looks alright. It looks decent. I mean, it's not the greatest looking graphical game of all time. Hell, there were games that came out on the PlayStation 3 and 360 when this game first came out that looked leagues better than what this game does. I know some people may say it looks ugly here and there. And yes, I'll admit, it's not the prettiest game I've ever played, but I don't personally consider it ugly. I think it's decent looking. I mean, it's not like they just took a freaking jar of Vaseline and just smeared it all over the graphics of this game and been like, hey, here you go, for a remaster. They didn't do that. They did a pretty good job remastering this game, and in my opinion, it looks decent. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. I don't really know exactly what type of grade to give the graphics. You know, I don't want to be mean and give it a very low grade. I'm not going to give it an insanely high grade, so I guess I'll just go in the middle and give it a 5 out of 10. The graphics in this game they're okay. Now, this next one, I've decided that I'm going to bundle all three of these together and give them all one collective grade. And that is the soundtrack, sound design, and voice acting for this video game. Soundtrack-wise, it ain't the best. It ain't the worst I've ever heard, but it definitely could have done a lot better. I understand that Telltale did not have the money to go out and get every single song from the films, because that's, number one, that's way too much money, like I said. Number two, that's copyright hell that you're pretty much going into. And they're not freaking Rockstar Games. They're not freaking 2K. They're not Activision or any other billion-dollar video game company you can think of. You know, they don't have fuck you money where they could just throw all this money at all these music artists and stuff and say, hey, we want all the music from the original 3 films in this game. It was pretty cool, though, to hear Back in Time by Huey Lewis in the news. That really caught me off guard. I was very pleasantly surprised to hear that in the game. Of course, for a Back to the Future video game, you had to get the rights to the theme song, the iconic theme song for Back to the Future. Of course, they had to get the rights for that, so it was really darn cool to hear that here in this game. Now, if there's one song that I'm really upset I did not hear at all during the entirety of this game, was The Power of Love by Huey Lewis in the News. That remains my favorite song out of the entire Back to the Future film franchise. And it baffles me it wasn't in the game, even though they had the rights to Back in Time by the same music artists. They had Back in Time by Huey Lewis in the News play during the early part of the game, but they didn't have the rights to Power of Love. Whatever, at least we got something from Huey Lewis in the game. Really nice to see that in the game. I just wish that we could have got Power of Love as well, but it is what it is. I understand, you know, they didn't have the rights to get, you know, actual real classic music from the 1930s. There is a period in the game where you go back to the 1930s. I understand they didn't have the rights to go and get, you know, a bunch of classic 1930s or even 1920 style music and put it here. So they just basically made their own with Trixie Trotter. And it's alright. I mean, it's not the greatest music in the world, but it's okay. Voice acting, phenomenal job. Most of the main cast from the film came back for this game. Christopher Lloyd came back to voice Doc Brown. The original Jennifer came back. The original release, the guy that voiced Biff was not the original voice actor from the films, but in this version, the 30th anniversary, it's voiced by the actual guy that played Biff in the films. And a whole bunch of others from the original cast of the films came back to voice their characters or other characters during this game. So that was a very nice touch to see. And while he did not voice Marty McFly in the entire game, Michael J. Fox does make an appearance in this game. I'm not going to spoil when that happens. You'll just have to watch my Let's Play series to find out. But Michael J. Fox does appear in the game voicing a character. If you want to find out who that is, watch my Let's Play series. Link down below in the description to the playlist in case you want to watch it from the beginning all the way to the end. Then there is the sound design for the game. And the sound design for this game, it ain't perfect, but it ain't terrible. It's good. You know, it's not the greatest sound design in the world, but it's good. All together, bundling all 3 of these together, I think I'll give it. And the voice cast for this game is gonna really bump the grade up here. I think I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10. If they would have done away with the original cast from the movies and just replaced all of them with, you know, new voice actors and stuff like that. Had they not have gotten Christopher Lloyd and the original Jennifer and the original Biff and Michael J. Fox, had they not got everybody from the films to come back and voice their characters or different characters in this game, that definitely would have hurt the grade quite a bit. But just the fact that they came back to reprise their characters and etc. in this game really brings a warm smile to my face. And while it's not perfect, I really did enjoy hearing the original voice cast come back together one last time. So altogether, this is a 7 out of 10. And now, unfortunately, we get to the part of the grading system that the game takes a steep decline into, oh no, this is really bad territory. The gameplay for this game, I'm just going to be honest with you, it's not the worst gameplay I've ever played in a game, and it's definitely far from the best. But this gameplay did piss me off. Why did it piss me off? To me, it feels like my choices in this game don't actually fucking matter. It's like the game was programmed to give me the ending that it wanted to give me, instead of having multiple different endings depending on my actions, depending on my choices, depending on my consequences that I take in the game. While I like the ending to the game, I wish that this would have been one of those situations where my choices actually fucking matter, and it dictates into what ending I get for the game. Be it a true ending, as in you do everything right and get the absolutely perfect ending. A good ending where while you may mess up here and there, you still do enough good to at least get a pretty decent ending. A neutral ending where you messed up here, you messed up there, you do a lot of good and you do a lot of bad, and you get a somewhat decent ending where some of the ending is good and some of the ending is bad, aka neutral ending. You get a bad ending where you do a lot of bad things and only very few good things, and the game basically punishes you by giving you a bad ending. Or you get the, oh god, you done fucked up now ending, where you just completely fuck over everything and just ruin everything and just get the absolute worst ending possible. This game does not do that to you. This game, like I said, gives you the ending that it chooses to give you. And while I like the ending to this game, and the ending kind of did leave a bit of a cliffhanger, like they were supposed to make a Season 2, there wasn't a Season 2 made. The game just ends on a cliffhanger, it says to be continued at the end, and that's it. No more special episodes, no more secret episodes, no Season 2, there's never been a sequel to this game, there's been nothing. I wish this game would have had multiple different endings. And to me, it makes it feel like everything I did, no matter if I tried to fuck up on purpose, the game was going to give me the ending it wanted to give me. Keep in mind that this is coming from the same company, the same studio, that made games like The Wolf Among Us and The Walking Dead. Games in which, where your choices do actually matter. Where you can do a lot of really good things in those games, and you can pick the really bad decisions in the game and really fuck up badly. Your choices actually do matter in those games, somewhat. if memory serves me correct, you can get multiple different endings in The Walking Dead. You can get multiple different endings in The Wolf Among Us. Now, I've never played either one of those, but it's just from what I've heard throughout the years from so many people who have played those games, is that your choices do actually matter in the game. Characters in The Walking Dead are going to remember you if you pick a good decision or a bad decision, and it will reflect later on in the game depending on what decision you made. Same thing goes for The Wolf Among Us. Hell, as a matter of fact, another Telltale game that I actually own, and I own both of these on PlayStation 4, I have the Batman Telltale games. I have the first one, the Telltale Batman video game, and then I have the sequel that came after that. I technically did play a little bit of the first Batman Telltale games on my old YouTube channel way back in the day, and while I only made it like an hour into the game, I felt like my choices in the game in episode 1 actually did fucking matter. If I picked a bad choice, the game was going to punish me later on for that. If I picked a good choice, the game would reward me for picking the right decision. I felt like, in my opinion, and just from what I played, I don't know how the rest of the game plays out, but from what I played from the first hour of Telltale's Batman game, I felt like my choices actually carried weight, like they actually matter. This game, none of it fucking matters. You could try everything you can to completely fuck up on purpose. You could try to purposely fuck up, and the game will basically force you to do the good ending, to get the ending that they want you to get in this game. This is the same company that made those games that I just talked about. Why didn't they do the same thing here? I don't get it. I don't fucking get it at all. I think this game, in my opinion, should have had multiple different endings. A good ending, a true ending, good ending, neutral ending, bad ending, and a really bad ending. And outside of some choices that I made later on in the game, especially in episode 4 and episode 5, I still feel that had I chose something else, it wouldn't even matter anyways. It wouldn't fucking matter any freaking way. And to me, that hurts the gameplay a tremendous bunch for this game. I felt like, in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that feels this way about this game, your choices don't fucking matter. I'm not saying the game is terrible. It's not a terrible game. I enjoyed the game quite a bit. But I think it was once I got to the halfway point of the game, I think once I got to like episode 4, that's when I realized, okay, it don't matter what choices I pick. The game's pretty much going to throw me the ending that it wants to throw me. So let's just hope and pray that it's a really good ending and that I'm satisfied by the ending, which I was. But I also am dissatisfied by the fact that it felt like, I don't know, man. It's hard to say. I'm not the best at reviewing video games, okay? So if this is your first time watching me review a video game on my channel, I admit I'm not perfect. I'm not freaking Angry Joe. I'm not IGN. I'm not Angry Video Game Nerd. I'm not Metacritic. I'm not any other professional video game reviewer out there. I'm just somebody that's just playing games on my channel for fun and for the people that want to see them, and then trying to do a review of them afterwards. And I know a lot of people are not going to agree with what I say, but hey, these are my opinions, these are my thoughts, and these are my grades of the games. If you don't agree with me, then feel free to let me know your thoughts and grades in the comment section below. Offer up your thoughts and grades. If you want to say I'm an asshole and a piece of shit for shitting on the gameplay in this game, okay, whatever. You're entitled to your opinion, I'm entitled to my opinion. I personally did not like the gameplay in this game. I think it definitely could have been a lot better. There should have been multiple different endings. Your choices should have fucking mattered. I'll throw another game up for comparison, and this wasn't by Telltale Games, but it's a game that has kind of like the same concept, but set in a horror-like element. And I've never played it, but I know the concept of it, and that is Until Dawn. And hell, I'll bring up The Quarry. That's another game that has that Until Dawn like feature where your choices in those games actually really do matter. You can get a good ending, you can get a true ending, a good ending, a neutral ending, a bad ending, or a really bad ending. If you fuck up in those games, you are going to be severely punished. And that's what I like about games like that. Your choices matter. This one, it doesn't. There were moments in this game, by the way, in the story that I was just like, ugh, why am I doing this? Especially that one part, I believe it was in episode 4, with the freaking mind reader. If you watch my Let's Play series, you know exactly what part I'm talking about. That was fucking annoying. It was so bad, I had to look up a playthrough of how to get through that part of the game. I hate having to look up playthroughs of how to do shit in a video game. I want to try to figure it out on my own, and the hint system, while it did help me out quite a bit in the game, the hint system at that point just said, go fuck yourself. We're not going to help you out here. Figure it out on your own. I hated that part of the game. I don't ever want to do anything like that ever again. That was so annoying. That was so frustrating. And it ruined my enjoyment of the game. I was enjoying the game quite a bit until I got to that point. And I was like, oh my god, this is bad. This is painful. Please don't ever do that ever again. I'm not the only one to complain about that part, because when I looked up the playthrough, everybody in the comment section was saying that it took them hours. I saw one comment that said that it took them almost 2 weeks just to figure out how to pull it off. And this is back in the day when the game first came out, by the way. They didn't even have internet back then. They didn't have a way to go on YouTube and look up a freaking playthrough. They had to figure it out by themselves. And they said that was hell. Absolute hell for them. If I did not have the internet, if I did not have a way to look up a playthrough of that part, I'd probably still be playing the game right now. I'd probably still be stuck on that section to this very day. I probably would have just stopped the Let's Play series in its entirety at that point and been like, fuck it, I'm calling it a day. I can't get past this part. Screw it, I'm done. I made it far enough. God, that part was so annoying. Along with other parts of the game where I just roll my eyes like, why am I doing this? The gameplay in this game, I'm going to be honest, it's not good. I'm going to have to give the gameplay a 2.5 out of 10. It's bad. I mean, It's not broken. I mean, it does work, except for a few bugs and glitches. There was one time where the game actually did hard lock on me, and I believe that was in episode 4, I think. I was going over to talk to the guy by the truck, uh, near the school, and then all of a sudden, the freaking game just hard locks on me and just freezes up. It only did that, I believe it only did it once. I can't remember a time where it crashed on me earlier in the game. I think that was the only time the game actually hard locked on me. Outside of that, and outside of a few bugs and glitches here and there, the game, it ran decently fine. But even still, I'm giving this a 2.5 out of 10. I'm very, very, very disappointed by the gameplay. Very disappointed. I can't wait to play other games that Telltale made. I can't wait to play games like the Wolf Among Us. I can't wait to get back to the Batman Telltale game. I don't have The Walking Dead, but I could get a hold of that. And I guarantee you I probably have way more enjoyment playing that game than I did this one. This, in my opinion, is probably their weakest game. Oh, they also had a, now that my memory's coming back to me about Telltale, they also had a Guardians of the Galaxy Telltale game and a Game of Thrones Telltale game. Now, I don't really know anything about those games, but I'm willing to bet that they're better than this. I'm sorry. In my opinion, this probably has to be the worst game that Telltale ever made. If anybody has another one out there that's worse than this, feel free to let me know in the comment section. But in terms of like gameplay and stuff, in terms of your choices don't actually matter, this is the worst. Like this, gameplay wise, this sucked. 2.5 out of 10. And we go from the gameplay onto the story for Back to the Future, the video game. Oh boy. I'm gonna be fair here. The story in this game was pretty damn good. It's not perfect. It's not terrible. It has its good moments, and it has its bad moments. But if this was Telltale's attempt at their idea of a fourth Back to the Future film, I think this would have been a pretty darn good movie. If this were actually made into a movie way back in the day, I think this could have been a really damn decent good Back to the Future film. It probably wouldn't have been my favorite in the franchise, but I think it would have been pretty darn good. Like I said, it just goes back to the gameplay where I felt like my choices didn't mean shit. I was going to get the ending that the game wanted me to get regardless. No matter if I tried to mess up or not. I love the person that voiced Edna in this game, by the way, going back to the voice acting. I think she did a fantastic job. I'm talking about the young Edna, as in the one that we mostly see throughout the entire game. I think she did a fantastic job. And I gotta give credit where credit due to Edna the character. While she was a narcissistic bitch pretty much the majority of the game, there were times in the game where I actually did feel a bit of compassion for her, and I actually did feel kind of bad for her. So I'll give credit where credit's due for that. They made me care about her at times. They made me actually kind of step back and think, you know, that actually does kind of suck, you know. If we do everything right and, you know, reverse the past, then she's just going to be miserable and everything in the present time. And etc., etc. And, you know, I can understand Doc being upset about that. And the way the game ends, I would say that Edna got the ending that was perfect for her. I mean, at least she did get to be with somebody at the end of the game. So, there's that. I know the game starts off, by the way, with you going back in time to try to save Doc from being killed by Kid Tannen. And then you ended up going back to the present and finding out that Kid Tannen never got arrested, so him and his family pretty much run all of Hill Valley. Then you go back in time and you stop Kid Tannen, but at the same time you get Edna and Emmett to get together and become a couple. So now you gotta... So, well, before all that, you go back to present time, you find out Edna and Emmett are pretty much running Hill Valley, and they pretty much turned it into a freaking dictatorship, with Edna being, you know, head honcho, basically, and Emmett basically, Doc basically doing whatever you can to make her happy, without knowing that she's the one that's actually freaking brainwashing him. At least he doesn't find that out until, you know, the very end. And then you have to save him from evil Edna. Then you go back to the past and try to break them up, and you succeed. And at the same time, Doc is trying to stop, the older Doc's trying to stop you from doing all this because he wants to create a universe where everybody can be happy. Which technically does happen at the end of the game, by the way. Speaking of young Emmett and Edna breaking up, this is another complaint I have with the story. And I thought this was so fucking stupid, the way that it went about. After you break young Emmett and young Edna up, Emmett goes to the top of the courthouse, and it looks like he's going to try to kill himself. And you go to stop him from doing so. But it turns out he's not actually there to kill himself. He's just up there on the courthouse just to recollect his thoughts, try to calm himself down, and basically wonder about what the hell's going on. And then he figures it all out that it was basically you that caused him and Edna to break up, because ever since you came back into Hill Valley, all of the stuff that's been going on, and now him and Edna have broken up. He blames you for everything. And the game gave me an option where I could be nice to him or I could be mean to him. I tried being nice to him, as nice as I can, but the game still forced me to be mean to him anyways. Which, okay, I mean, I don't understand why the game wanted me to be nice and then mean to him, which, whatever, I guess. And then he starts talking about how he doesn't want to do science anymore. He's done with the expo. He's done with science. He never wants to invent ever again. And then all of a sudden, 5 seconds later, it's like flip of the switch. Now he's not mad at you anymore. He's happy, he wants to get back inventing, and he wants to go to the expo and present a new invention that he just thought of at the drop of a hat. Even though 5 seconds earlier, he was screaming his head off at you, blaming you for everything, saying that he hated you, that he wanted you to die, basically. How do you go from hating somebody to all of a sudden 5 seconds later just completely forgetting about it, like water under a bridge? Like, hey, you know, you broke me up with my girlfriend, the love of my life, but hey, you know, I'm gonna forgive you because science. I'm sorry, that moment in the story, I was like, really? Are you fucking kidding me? You blame me for everything, and then 5 seconds later, you just completely just sweep all that under the rug. It's just water under the bridge, and now you're perfectly happy with me. And then another 5 seconds later, you trip and fall, and you nearly fall to your death, and I have to save you from falling because your leg got stuck to the dog statue. I saved you from falling, and then immediately afterwards, we go to get your invention and go to the expo. Why didn't the game have it to where when Emmett is yelling at you, blaming you for everything, and he goes to wander off, he trips, he stumbles, and he falls off, you save him, and then he forgives you afterwards? That would have been a lot more reasonable. That would have been a lot more understanding. He would have looked at it in a sense of, okay, you may have ruined my life by causing me to break up with the one that I loved and the one that I thought cared about me. You may have broke us up, but at the same time, you did save my life. You did save me from falling and snapping my neck and possibly killing myself or seriously injuring myself. So I'm going to forgive you. Instead, the game decides to just have him forgive you before he falls off the damn courthouse, the roof, excuse me. What the fuck? Like, how did that make any sense? 1 second he's yelling at you, blaming you for ruining his life, for causing him and Edna to break up. The next second, he just completely forgives you, wants to go to the expo with a new invention, and the next second he falls off the courthouse roof, you have to save him, and then when you save him, you immediately go get the invention and it's off to the expo. Why didn't you have it, like I said, where he yelled at you, he goes to walk off the courthouse, or in a fit of rage, he trips, he goes after you, basically. Let's say he tries to go after you and grab you, and he trips and falls off the courthouse. You save him, and then he forgives you afterwards. That would have made a lot more sense. But what does Telltale decide to do? No, let's just have him be mad at you, and then a second later, oh, everything's fine. That's not how things work IRL. If I cause my best friend to break up with his girlfriend, and he starts screaming at me, wanting to beat the shit out of me, he's not going to forgive me literally 5 seconds later and just be like, it's water on the bridge, I don't care anymore. Hey, let's go watch a movie or something. Let's go hang out. Let's go for a walk in the park or something. Well, let's let the past be the past. Now, if he would have tripped and fell and was, hanging on for dear life and I saved him, then it's his decision if he wants to forgive me afterwards. Most likely, he probably would forgive me. He'd probably be like, I'm still mad at you for causing me to break up with my girlfriend, but I thank you for saving my life. Thank you for saving me from having a broken neck and possibly seriously injuring myself, or worse, killing myself. Which, that would be understandable. But they didn't do that here. And I thought, I'm going to be honest with you, when that part happened, I actually laughed on the inside. I think if I remember correctly, I actually laughed out loud a little bit too when I was playing that part. If I didn't laugh out loud, I definitely was laughing on the inside, because I thought that was so fucking stupid. 1 second he hates you, and the next second he's perfectly fine with you, and the next second he falls off and you save him. Why didn't you have him fall off in a fit of rage and then you... Oh my god. Whoever wrote that part of that episode, that was really fucking stupid. That was so fucking stupid. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that had an issue with that. I'm pretty sure lots of other people had an issue with that part of the game as well, because that was really fucking stupid. And then episode 5, you pretty much find out Edna stole the DeLorean, went back in time, caused Hill Valley to catch on fire because she burned down the bar that came into Hill Valley, which caused Hill Valley to set on fire, which means there's no Hill Valley, she's the only one living in the middle of fucking nowhere. You get the truth out of her, you go back in time, you stop her from doing that, you hijack her DeLorean and send her back to her time period in the 1930s. She gets arrested, you go back home. Well, you find out that Trixie Trotter is actually your grandma, which I will admit that was the funniest part of the entire game for me. Like, I busted out laughing so loud when that part happened. That was actually really damn done. That was a really big fucking swerve. Credit where credit's due there, because that even caught me off guard. But hey, job well done there on that part. You go back home, you find out that the reason why Doc even went back to that time period was he's basically making a book, a biography book of every McFly in the McFly family timeline, and he gives it to Marty. Right when the game's about to end, 3 Martys from the future come in different DeLoreans, trying to get Doc to come with him to try to, alter the future or something. And he decides, nah, I'm not gonna mess with them. I'm just gonna stick with the Marty that's in present time. And they get in the DeLorean, and they drive off. Well, they fly off, and that's how the game ends. Credits roll, and then at the end it shows the big to be continued screen, and that's it. I don't know why they had to put that teaser there at the end to be continued, because there never was a season 2. There was never going to be a season 2, not that I'm aware of. If there was, obviously it got canceled a long time ago. There's never going to be a sequel to this game. I don't see there ever being a part 2 to this game. I think this game is a one and done. I think it's one and done as a whole. Story-wise, and this has a lot to do with the gameplay, I like the story, but I also don't like it at the same time. Overall, I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10 for the story. 5 really good points, 5 really bad points. It's in the middle. This is an average story. I don't hate it, but it damn sure ain't perfect. A lot of it has to do with the gameplay. That one part I talked about with the courthouse I thought was so fucking stupid, the way they went about it. If they would have just reversed a few things around, that would have been absolutely perfect. But nope, had to give us that bullshit. They had to give us that bullshit. Whatever. In terms of the game overall, Telltale's Back to the Future, the video game, is not the best game I played on my channel. It definitely will not be the worst game I ever play. I'm pretty sure there will come a time where I play a game that's way worse than this. I will say, though, I enjoyed playing this game way more than I did Trek to Yomi, which was one of the last Let's Play series I did recently on my channel. I enjoyed this game way more than I did Trek to Yomi. I'm going to remember more about the story of this game than I am the story of Trek to Yomi. I'm going to be honest with you. Even now, I don't even really remember that much about Trek to Yomi's story. It was that bland and fucking boring. I'm sorry if that upsets anybody that's a fan of that game, but I thought the story in that game was so fucking boring and bland. This game, at least I'm going to remember the story for the good and the bad. But overall, this is a game that, while I was very, very excited going into it, I just kind of leave it at the end, just basically going, meh. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't perfect. It had its good moments. It definitely had its bad. This is just... It's an okay game. My final verdict for Telltale's Back to the Future, the video game, is a 5 out of 10. It's right in the middle. There's some good, there's some bad, there's some really good, and there's some really bad. Would I recommend getting this game? Yes. I would say that this game is good as a one and done. It's one of those types of games, and Razorblade Mango kind of said it best in one of his recent videos, and it was a spoiler-free video of Spider-Man 2 that he did on his channel, and there was something that he said in there, and it kind of rings true with this game. This game is the equivalent of a condom game. What do you mean by a condom game? A condom game is a game that you play and then you delete it afterwards because there's nothing else to do in the game, and you never touch it ever again, except for maybe nostalgia's sake. This game is the equivalent of a condom game. It's a game that I'm only going to play once. I don't see me ever going back and playing this game ever again. I think this is going to be my first and last time ever playing this game. I'm going to keep my physical copy, though. I'm not getting rid of that. Because this physical copy took me forever to track down. This game, where I live, I know people are going to say, oh, you could find it online, really cheap. I didn't want to go online and get it. I wanted to find this in a retail store. This game was insanely hard to find where I live. I finally find a copy. I pick it up. I had to pay a shit ton of money to get this game. I play it, and I'm just left with a meh experience. I recommend this game if you have never played it. If you have played it and you want to play it again, go right on ahead for nostalgia's sake. But this isn't the game. For me, this is the condom game. This is a game that it's basically like a condom. You put it on, you use it, you take it off, you throw it away, and you never touch it ever again. That's basically what this game is. It's a 5 out of 10 game, and that's all I have to say here about Telltale's Back to the Future video game. I'm not going to be announcing any new Let's Play series, by the way, in case you're tuning in wanting to hear if I'm going to announce a new Let's Play series. No, there's no new Let's Play series coming to the channel. I'm not bringing a new single-player story mode game to the channel. I'm not bringing anything that I played before back to the channel for the time being. I got way too many Let's Play series I'm doing right now. Like, right now, currently, I'm playing... And I'm gonna try to count all of these the best I can. Batman Arkham Origins. Forza, well, I'm not gonna count. I'm not gonna officially count Forza. That's just a thing I do every now and again. So there's Batman Arkham Origins, Gears of War, Grand Theft Auto 4, Halo, Red Dead Redemption 1, and The Last of Us Part 2. That's 6 Let's Play series. I'm doing 6 Let's Play series on my channel right now, with the conclusion of this one. I don't feel like adding a brand new Let's Play series that's a story mode game to my channel anytime soon. I think I'm just going to stick to the games that I'm currently playing and try to get them done. I'm probably going to get done with Halo next if I had to take a guess. Unless I beat Grand Theft Auto 4 very soon. I'm pretty far in GTA 4. Who knows? I might beat that before I beat Halo Reach. We'll see, though. It's either going to be Halo Reach or Grand Theft Auto 4. Because I feel like I'm nearing the end of both of those games. I'm very, very far in Grand Theft Auto 4. And I'm pretty far in Halo Reach. I think I'll beat those games eventually. As for the other ones, I pretty much just started up Let's Plays on them. The Last of Us Part 2 is probably going to take me... That's probably going to take me till, like, the middle of next year before I can beat it. I hope I can beat that game before Season 2 of the television show comes out. Because if I don't beat that game before Season 2 comes out, my mom is going to freaking pester the shit out of me to watch The Last of Us. Because I got her to watch Season 1, she fucking loved the show, and she can't wait for Season 2 to come out. And I know Season 2 is going to be on The Last of Us Part 2. I do not want to watch Season 2 until I beat the game. Until I beat the game, I don't want to see the new season of The Last of Us. And I know it's probably going to come out either next year or sometime in 2025. Hopefully I can beat the game by then. So I'm just going to stick to the 6 games that I'm currently playing. I'm not bringing anything new to the channel. I'm not bringing anything back to the channel. That pretty much does it for this thoughts and grades video of Telltale's Back to the Future the video game. Let me know your thoughts and grades of the game down below. Again, I'm not a professional. I'm not getting paid to do this. I'm just giving my personal thoughts and grades of the game. It's a 5 out of 10. It's a condom game. You put it on, you use it, then you take it off, you throw it away, and you never think about it ever again. That sums up this game as a whole. Not perfect, not terrible, but it does have bad moments, but it also has good moments too. This is Edgerunner Gaming HD signing out. Peace, stay safe, have a great rest of the day or night, depending on when you're watching this. I'm terribly sorry for the audio quality, by the way. I recorded this entire review on Share Factory on my PS4. And yes, unfortunately, I'm still on the fake-ass DualShock 4 controller that Game Exchange told me. All of our controllers are authentic from PlayStation. My ass! Anyways, I'm out. Bye, everyone.
They will find me through the flames, flames that run down through my veins. I will make the city burn. We're not planning to return. Trying so hard to be free, to make you see what I see. Hold on to your wishes if you can't hold on to me. Forgive me for letting